if you're going through dealing with people judging you and, making judgments about you, I want to give you some encouragement by sharing my own personal experience. So when someone says that it was my fault that my daughter was shaken because I knew that my ex-husband who shook her, had abusive moments, he was abusive towards me some. People say that to me, they make that judgment towards me that it was my fault that she was shaken. And I do take some responsibility, but not full responsibility in any way, because there's no way I could have known that he would do that to her, and I would have never allowed that to happen. So one thing I do want to mention about this, about my personal experience, is that I felt trapped in the marriage that I was in with my ex-husband. And so although he was abusive, it wasn't like I could just pick up, leave, and never hear from him or see him or, anything like that again. We had 2 children together. It's not as easy as some people think to just up and leave. So maybe you're in that position where people are judging you for staying with someone who's abusive. And I would take it back if I could. If I could go back in time and leave him, I would have tried to, make that happen. But if you're in that situation, I'm not saying that you should stay with the person. I'm just saying that I can relate to the feeling of feeling trapped in a marriage to someone because you think it might be the best way to protect your children. And so he threatened me all the time, saying if I left him, that he would go to court and take the kids, things like that. He was very manipulative, and I believed that. I was like 22 years old. I believed that if I left him, my kids would be in more danger because they would be alone with him more often than they were when we were married. And so it did feel safer to stay with the person. So if you're experiencing judgment towards that, I'm here to say I don't believe that it's okay, but I do relate to it. And if you've been in any kind of abusive relationship, you can probably relate to how I felt during that time too. And then if you happen to be watching this and you're someone who judges people, stop judging people. You don't know their full situation. But people are just so quick to judge with little information, and it's not fair. So people will look at your life on social media, or maybe they know you personally, but they don't know the full story. It's just not fair. So don't allow people to judge you and make you feel bad about yourself because they don't know the full story. And if you feel judged by people, I want you to remember that they don't know everything. And they're making a judgment based on possibly a small piece of the story that they have, or a judgment from what someone else says about you. And, one thing I like to repeat whenever someone is commenting, things like that to me on social media, I like to repeat, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And then just move on. And that can be hard to do. But if you just do that, get in a habit of doing that when someone is judging you, and then move on. Because, most likely, if someone is commenting to you rudely or whatever, you're not going to listen to them anyway. So just try to move on. So I do want to leave you with this encouragement. And it's in Matthew 7:1-3. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way that you judge others, you'll be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? So that's encouraging to me, especially when someone else, that really doesn't even know me is, passing judgment on me. And I hope that's encouraging to you, because as Christians, we know that basically, what comes around goes around. If you're going around passing judgment to people, and we can find comfort in knowing that the person who's judging us is going to be judged as well. And in a verse like this, it makes it clear that it's also with the same measure that they judge you. So if someone's very harshly judging you, like I'm trying to think of an example, but I get some very harsh, critical, rude comments and messages from people just because I'm sharing my story and they find something wrong with that. I'll talk about, my daughter was shaken baby syndrome a lot. And I'll tell the story of how I would have never imagined that her biological father would shake her. Clearly, why would I ever leave her with him if I thought that was possible? And then they judge me harshly, saying it's your fault, and you're a terrible mother because you left her alone, and all of these things, just the worst things you could possibly think of, cussing, calling me names, cussing, things like that. But I find it encouraging and, comforting to know that, okay, when I first read some of those things, it bothers me for a moment, but then I remind myself of verses like this in the Bible and, give myself a little pep talk of like, okay, this person doesn't even know me. Their opinion literally does not make one little tiny difference in my life. They, clearly, if they are going to go out of their way to make such a harsh judgment and comment, there must be something going on in their life that they're not happy with. People who are happy, joyful, loving, godly people don't comment things like that. And they don't message people such harsh, rude, mean words. And so happy people don't do that. So I know automatically that these people are not happy. And that's not really, encouraging. But you can know that it's most likely not even you that they're judging. It's just they're so unhappy. They're trying to find anything to say to anybody that could possibly make their own situation seem better and make them feel good about themselves. And that's not on you. That's not your fault that people are so miserable sometimes. But yes, I do find it encouraging, and I hope that you do too, that people will be judged back. They don't get to just freely go around and say such harsh words to others and it not come around, and bite them in some way sometime. And so yeah, but if you are one of those people who watch there's some people who said they've spent hours watching all of my videos, read my book, things like that, and then they want to say this to me, and it's something, very mean. But that doesn't mean that they still know who I am. So if you are one of those people watching all my videos and have something bad to say about that or something judgmental to say towards me, then what I have to say to you is I really do not care about your opinion in that way. I am here to do what I think God is calling me to do, and that's spread awareness and hopefully help someone else. Your negative, rude opinion and comment does not change the fact that what I am doing has helped a lot of people and will continue to help a lot of people and potentially even save lives. And so there is no negative comment that will ever make me stop. I don't know if getting me to stop talking about it is the goal, but if that's the goal, it's never going to happen. But anyways, if you are one of those nice people, and I have so many awesome people who watch my videos on here, and they know everything about myself and my daughter, and I think that's amazing. I think, I am so thankful for people like you who are not judgmental of my situation and are encouraging and loving and kind. So thank you. If you are one of those people who watch these videos and watching this video right now, thank you for being so kind and loving. And I do read a lot of the comments, and I'm just very thankful for all the nice, loving comments. So anyways, if you do like this kind of content, because I'm trying to figure out what people want to see. So I usually post a lot about shaken baby syndrome specifically, more of like the medical side of things, but also I have a lot of experiences like this that I go through that I like to share too. So if this is something you do want to see, let me know in the comments.